All right, Ian. Some good game. We're on a good roll with game preservation. The past year, really, we are. And news from HiddenPalace.org about Sonic 3.
So a Sonic the Hedgehog 3 prototype was dumped by HiddenPalace.org. And it's a big deal because, one, the way the development of Sonic 3 happened, it was always assumed that there weren't going to be many prototypes out there at all, and I'll get to that in a moment. But it's an interesting snapshot of the game, apparently, from right as it was starting to split into two pieces.
Well, you explain the split here.
Sonic the Hedgehog 3 was started almost immediately after Sonic the Hedgehog 2 finished. It was supposed to look a bit like Sonic 3D Blast, the isometric, slightly overhead Sonic game. And development wasn't going well. Well, Sega had already basically signed on to do a promotional deal with McDonald's. And it was basically, from everything I've read, set in stone. There was no way for them to really get around this.
It was locked in a specific date.
Yeah, it was like February, I believe. Stuff had already been being manufactured. So
February '94, that was a deal.
So they went back to the drawing board and they decided to continue They decided to make Sonic 3, but they were going to do it like Sonic 2. They were going to make it a side-scrolling
sprite-based.
Right. Well, they got ahead of themselves, and basically it didn't look like they were going to be able to finish everything in time. So that's when they decided to kind of split it off into two chunks. Sonic 3 it was originally going to be Sonic 3 Part 1, and then Sonic and Knuckles was Sonic 3 Part 2. They gave it a different name based on the story. When you put the Sonic and Knuckles card on top, this is something that still impresses me with people who even have some knowledge of video games but haven't played Sonic. They are not two separate games. They were sold to you separately, but the lock-on technology, yes, if you plug Sonic 2 into the top of Sonic and Knuckles, you get to play as Knuckles in Sonic 2. It's just a bonus feature. Plugging Sonic 3 on top of Sonic and Knuckles, it's not a bonus feature. What it does is it puts the two parts of the game together and makes it a whole game. When you start Sonic the Hedgehog 3, it doesn't give you any save spots. When you start Sonic and Knuckles, there's save spots. You can pick and choose whether or not you want to use just Sonic and Tails, Knuckles, just Tails. When you put the two games together, it does that. It strings everything together, and it gives you one big 12-level game. And there are a couple of things it edits, such as like it slightly edits the end game of Sonic 3 if you were just playing it on its own. So anyways, basically Sega got themselves into some trouble, had to split it off into two parts. They were so behind on it that and they didn't want stuff leaked, and they were so concerned about controlling how the game was shown and presented in publications, that most of the people who played it, journalists and whatnot, they were not sent prototypes. They were flown out to Sega to play it, so Sega could control essentially their demo experience.
Sure. The original influencers, but they were just journalists probably. Yeah.
So that's why everyone thought it would be nearly impossible to ever find a Sonic the Hedgehog 3 prototype if they existed, because ideally they shouldn't have ever really left the building.
They should have been with Sega.
They would have all been there. Yeah. So this was released, and it shows this is the Sonic 3. The Sonic 3 prototype was released. It still shows the aerial battery zone, which is not in Sonic 3. And oddly enough, it was not using the songs that were in the later part of the game. They were not using the songs that were done by Michael Jackson and Michael Jackson's production team. They were using the tracks that were on the PC version of the game, which is interesting because it was, there were some people out there who always theorized, okay, when they did the PC version, they made some tracks to put in there to replace the tracks that were done by Michael Jackson's sound team. I'm guessing for licensing issues or rights, monetary reasons. But it appears that they were actually in the game initially, and then probably last minute replaced by the tracks that were done by Michael Jackson's sound.
How many of Michael Jackson's tracks were used in the final game?
I don't know, but I mean that's a different topic and a different story.
Okay, because I think from what I read, they had to hire a bunch of different people to help hodgepodge it together because they were in such a rush to complete it.
Well, and that's what it sounds like. This prototype that they dumped is supposedly only it was supposed to only be from a few weeks before the final ROM was set in stone, the gold ROM for production, and it's still got differences all over the place. So I'm trying to find the list here because it does go into it. And oh man, the differences. There are things people dream of when they. These are differences that people dream of when they think of prototypes. This prototype reflects a moment. This is directly from the hiddenpalace.org article. Prototype reflects a moment in development in the game. It just begun to split itself into two parts. Flying Battery is still here, complete with bosses, with Lava Reef present and leftover data. Lava Reef is in Sonic and Knuckles.
Okay.
All 3 bonus stages are present, although all of them are unfinished. The special stages are just programming tests at this point. Just a few weeks out from when the Gold ROM was supposed to be done, the special stages are still just programming tests. Oddly enough, Angel Island contains the most differences, and that's the first level in the game. It presents more questions than answers. Why does the game have a drop-dash-like ability for Sonic? Why is there a second unique style of special stage that's just not there? Was Flying Battery going to be part of Sonic 3 Part 1? And above all, why is the music for later stages completely different and based on the tracks from the PC port? Where's Michael Jackson? In many ways, it feels like playing... So
there's probably temp tracks even maybe before replacing them, I guess. So this was a rush. And then it sounds like they were still like trying to separate this out really close.
And what's funny is like in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, what people tend to call it when you put the two together and you play the full fucking game, is easily one of my favorite platform games of all time.
I don't think I've ever played it before. I played Sonic 1 and 2.
It's brilliant. I think it's just about perfect.
I'll check it out, Ian.
It's just about perfect in my opinion. There was once a time where I would go through and beat it once a summer, just for shits and giggles.
With the lock on altogether.
Yeah, and I haven't done that in a while. But it's a great game. But like it's even more amazing to me now, like looking at this prototype and hearing about the development, how much of this game should have been a total fucking disaster.
They pulled it together.
Yeah.
Somehow.
So
and gave you 2 games.
Even back then, that was bullshit. I mean, the original Sonic game, I think, is like 10 or 11 levels. I think the second one is 11 or 12.
Oh, so you knew as a kid you were getting shortchanged.
You were like, why is this so fun? Yeah, no.
Why is it so short?
You got 6 levels. That when you look at it in the moment, that was the failure of the game.
It was so short compared.
Yeah, all the acts had 2 levels only. In Sonic 1, some of them had 3. You got 6 zones, 2 acts each. You got
12 stages.
You got nothing in Sonic 3 compared to Sonic 2 or Sonic 1. And then Sonic and Knuckles did the same thing. But then when you realize you put the 2 of them together, you get a big full-size Sonic game with multiple characters to play through and all sorts of great shit to do.
So you bought your Sonic and Knuckles, you didn't get it as a pack-in? You just used wasn't a pack-in with one of the later Genesis mini release Genesis 2's releases?
No, I don't believe so. Sonic
wasn't?
It might have been. I don't know. That's not how I got it. My pack-in was Sonic 1. I mean,
later on when they did the Genesis 2, I thought Sonic and Knuckles was a pack-in.
I don't know.
I'm talking later on in its life, because that's how I think I had. I don't think I have a Sonic and Knuckles in the box, and it seems fairly uncommon looking on eBay with the box. So yeah. Anyway, it's an interesting story, and it's also with the help of our buddies at Cutting Room Floor. There, we don't talk about that much. It sounds like they had a hand in helping.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Get this prototype.
Yeah.
What's that?
Sorry about that, guys.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, yeah, this is great news. And I don't know. It doesn't really get into how they got the ROMs, but they had to know.
Honestly,
someone.
That's less important than just having it.
Yeah, sure, it's fine.
So, yeah, I don't have much more to say than that, but I mean, it's interesting, and I mean, it's a really neat picture of where the game was even just a little bit before.
Now, is this going to be a public ROM release or no? Is it all just? It's basically
that I don't know.
That I don't see here. Either way, they dumped it, they saved it, they've documented it. That's good. Oh, cool! Sonic running down a little snow mountain. That's a cool thing to see. That ended up in the games.
I'd have to go. Yes,
it did. Okay.
Yeah,
but it's just putting it in this prototype was made it weird before they split it out. All right. Well, Ian, thanks for the little history lesson.
Yeah,
because I really don't know anything about Sonic, so I think I beat the first game maybe back in the day. I don't know. I should stream that for fun. I should do that.